Two people move to the same city the same year. Same age, same income, same ambition. One of them rents a clean, well-located apartment and invests the difference between their monthly housing cost and what a comparable mortgage would have required. The other stretches their budget to buy a home because every financial authority in their life told them that renting is throwing money away. 10 years later, the renter has a growing investment portfolio, zero maintenance debt, complete geographic flexibility, and a net worth that is quietly competitive with anyone their age. The homeowner has equity, some of it alongside a roof that needed replacing in year 4, an HVAC system that failed in year 7, property taxes that have increased 3 times, and a total cost of ownership that nobody showed them in the mortgage closing documents. Both of them made the responsible choice. Only one of them was told the full picture before they made it. I'm Williams. And what I want to do in this video is dismantle one of the most expensive financial myths in the modern economy. The idea that renting is inherently wasteful and buying is inherently wise, and replace it with a framework that actually serves your financial life rather than the industries that profit when you believe the myth. Let me start with the phrase itself, because the language reveals the manipulation, throwing money away. That is the phrase used to describe renting. And it is extraordinarily effective as a psychological lever because it reframes a transaction exchanging money for housing as an act of senseless waste. Nobody wants to throw money away. The phrase bypasses rational analysis entirely and lands directly in the emotional brain, where it triggers a loss aversion response that makes renting feel like financial self-destruction. Here is what the phrase conveniently ignores. Every single month, a homeowner also pays money they will never see again. Mortgage interest, which in the early years of a standard loan represents the vast majority of each payment, is gone permanently. Property taxes are gone permanently. Homeowners insurance is gone permanently. Maintenance costs, which financial planners estimate conservatively at 1 to 2% of the home's value per year, are gone permanently. A $250,000 home generates $2,500 to $5,000 in maintenance costs annually, costs that renters do not pay, and that virtually no mortgage calculator includes in its monthly payment comparison. The question is never whether you are spending money on housing. You always are. The question is which specific combination of costs serves your financial life most effectively given your actual situation, your actual timeline, and your actual alternative uses for capital. That question deserves an honest answer. The rent versus buy debate in mainstream financial culture almost never provides one. Let me show you the math that the mortgage industry's marketing does not show you, because the numbers are more complex and more interesting than either side of the cultural debate acknowledges. Take a home purchased at $350,000 with a 20% down payment, $70,000, and a 6.5% 30-year fixed mortgage on the remaining $280,000. The monthly principal and interest payment comes to approximately $1,769. That is the number most people compare to rent when making the decision. It is the wrong number to compare. Add property taxes at the national average of approximately 1.1% annually, $3,850 per year, or $320 per month. Add homeowners insurance at roughly $150 per month. Add that 1 to 2% maintenance estimate using the conservative 1% figure. That is $290 per month averaged across the year. Add private mortgage insurance if the down payment is under 20%, which applies to the majority of first-time buyers. The real monthly cost of owning that $350,000 home is approximately $2,530, not $1,007. $169. That is a $760 gap between the payment people compare to rent and the payment they actually live with. Across 12 months, that gap is $9,120. Across 10 years of ownership, before accounting for cost increases, It is $91,200 that nobody put in the comparison, and there is still the opportunity cost of the down payment to consider. $70,000 placed into a diversified index fund at 7%, real annual returns over 10 years becomes approximately $137,000. That $70,000 used as a down payment does not produce that return. It produces equity, which is real and meaningful, but the opportunity cost of deploying that capital into an illiquid, non-diversified, single asset investment rather than a broad market portfolio is a legitimate financial consideration that the rent versus buy conversation almost universally omits. None of this means buying is wrong. It means buying is not automatically right. And the cultural certainty with which the financial wisdom of homeownership is asserted, the presumption that renting is waste and buying is sense, is not supported by the actual math across all situations, all markets, and all timelines. It is a useful generalization that has been repeated so many times it has hardened into unexamined doctrine. If this is opening up a calculation you have not fully run before, if the numbers are landing in a way that connects to decisions you are currently facing, take 2 seconds and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach people who are making $100,000 decisions based on a 6-word phrase. Now let me show you the specific conditions under which renting is the mathematically superior choice, because this is the information that is genuinely difficult to find in a financial culture that has a structural incentive to push you toward a mortgage. The first condition is a short time horizon. The transaction costs of buying and selling a home, real estate agent commissions, closing costs, title insurance, transfer taxes typically run between 8 and 10% of the home's value. On a $350,000 home, that is $28,000 to $35,000 in costs that must be recovered before the transaction breaks even. In most markets, at historical appreciation rates, that break-even point requires 5 to 7 years of ownership minimum. If you are not confident you will stay in a location for at least 5 years, buying exposes you to a real probability of selling at a loss after all transaction costs are accounted for. Renting in that scenario is not a waste. It is the financially rational preservation of optionality. The second condition is a high price-to-rent ratio. This is the metric that professional real estate investors use to evaluate whether a property makes financial sense, and it is almost never discussed in consumer-facing homeownership conversations. The price-to-rent ratio is simply the purchase price of a home divided by the annual rent for a comparable property. A ratio below 15 generally indicates that buying is financially competitive with renting. A ratio above 20 generally indicates that renting and investing the difference is likely to outperform buying over most time horizons. In many major metropolitan markets, the cities where the most people are making rent versus buy decisions right now, price-to-rent ratios are between 25 and 40. At those ratios, the mathematical case for renting and investing, the difference is significant and durable. It is not throwing money away. It is deploying capital where it generates the best return. The third condition is capital availability and investment discipline. This is where the rent versus buy math gets nuanced in a way that most people resist because it requires honest self-assessment rather than abstract comparison. The financial case for renting assumes that you will actually invest the difference between your rental cost and what ownership would cost. If you rent a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,800 per month in a market where the equivalent owned property would cost $2,500 per month in total carrying costs, the renting advantage is $700 per month, $8,400 per year. Invested consistently at 7% real returns over 20 years, that difference becomes approximately $430,000. That is a genuinely substantial wealth-building outcome from renting, but only if the discipline to invest the difference is real and consistent. If the $700 per month simply expands into lifestyle spending, the renting advantage evaporates entirely, and the homeowner's forced savings through equity accumulation becomes the more effective wealth building mechanism by default. The honest question is not whether renting can beat buying mathematically. Under the right conditions, it clearly can. The honest question is whether you will actually execute the investment discipline that makes the renting advantage real. And that question requires a level of self-knowledge that financial calculators cannot provide. Now, let me address the equity argument directly because it is the strongest genuine case for homeownership, and it deserves a serious response rather than dismissal. Home equity is real wealth. For the majority of American households, the equity in their home represents their single largest asset and the primary mechanism through which they have accumulated wealth across their lifetimes. Homeownership provides a forced savings structure, mortgage payments that build equity regardless of investment discipline that has genuinely served millions of families who would not have saved an equivalent amount voluntarily. It provides inflation protection, since a fixed mortgage payment does not increase while rents typically do over time. It provides stability, both practical and psychological, that has genuine value beyond what any spreadsheet captures. It provides leverage, the ability to control a $350,000 asset with a $70,000 investment that amplifies returns when home values appreciate. These are real advantages. They are not myths. But they exist alongside real disadvantages that deserve equal weight: illiquidity, concentration risk in a single non-diversified asset, maintenance obligations, geographic inflexibility, and the transaction costs that make short-term ownership financially punishing. A complete analysis holds all of it simultaneously rather than selectively presenting the advantages while dismissing the costs as irrelevant. The people who build the most wealth from homeownership are not the people who bought because they were told renting is waste. They are the people who bought the right property in the right market at the right point in their financial lives after genuinely evaluating the full cost of ownership against their specific alternatives. They treated the decision as a financial analysis, not a cultural obligation. Here is what I want you to do with this framework. 4 specific steps, executable this week, that will give you a real answer for your specific situation rather than a cultural default. First, calculate your true cost of ownership for a specific property you are considering or have recently considered. Take the mortgage payment and add property taxes, insurance, and 1% of the purchase price annually for maintenance. That is your real monthly cost. Write it down alongside the rent for a comparable property. The gap between those two numbers is your monthly renting advantage or disadvantage. Second, look up the price to rent ratio for your specific market. Take the median home price in your target area and divide it by the median annual rent for a comparable property. If the ratio is below 15, the math generally favors buying. If it is above 20, the math generally favors renting and investing the difference. Your local market's ratio tells you more about the right decision than any general principle does. Third, calculate the opportunity cost of your potential down payment. Take the down payment amount you would deploy toward a home purchase and multiply it by 7.6, the approximate 30-year compound value of $1 invested today at 7% real returns. The result is what that capital could become in a diversified investment portfolio over a working career. Compare that number to the equity you would realistically accumulate over the same period. The comparison is not always obvious in either direction. Fourth, assess your actual timeline with honesty, not your optimistic timeline, your realistic one. If there is a meaningful probability you relocate within 5 years for career, relationship, or lifestyle reasons, factor the transaction costs of selling into your analysis. A home that appreciates 6% over 3 years of ownership may still represent a net loss after agent commissions and closing costs are subtracted from the proceeds. Back to those 2 people who moved to the same city the same year. Neither of them made a foolish choice. Both of them made the choice that made the most sense given their specific situation, their specific market, and their specific financial position, because that is what the decision actually requires. One of them was told the full picture before deciding. The other was handed a 6-word phrase and a mortgage application. Renting is not wasting money. Renting is paying for housing, flexibility, and optionality costs that are real but are not inherently inferior to the costs of ownership when the full ledger is examined honestly. Buying is not automatically wise. Buying is a leveraged, illiquid, concentrated bet on a single asset in a specific market, a bet that pays off well under certain conditions and punishes under others. The decision deserves the full analysis. Your financial life deserves the honest numbers. And the only way to make the right choice is to look at both sides of the ledger with equal attention rather than letting a 6-word cultural verdict make the decision for you. Run the numbers for your specific situation, then decide based on what is actually there. And if this channel is giving you frameworks that make these decisions clearer, if the analysis here is worth your time, consider subscribing. Every week, this is what we build. The complete picture, the real math, the conversations that the industries profiting from your decisions would prefer you never had. The right housing decision is the one that serves your financial life, not the one that confirms what everyone already told you to believe. I'm Williams. I'll see you in the next video.